The Chicago Bears have completely retooled their roster from 2 years ago, and entering 2024, they look like they could possibly win the NFC North. With them selecting the right players, making master trades, and signing key free agents, the Bears have set the roster up very well. You see the title and thumbnail, we're going to be talking about how the Chicago Bears are scary in 2024. And much of the reason they're looking so good for the future as of right now is because of one trade, and that trade is the DJ Moore trade. In 2022, the Bears ended 3-14 and got the #1 overall pick, and the top prospects were quarterbacks and edge rushers, and they just didn't need any of those positions, so they traded down to #9 to the Carolina Panthers, and in return, they got a 2023 first-round pick, a 2024 first-round pick, and wide receiver DJ Moore, who was the best player on the Panthers at that time. The Panthers would draft Bryce Young out of Alabama, but however, as you can assume, it might be a little tough for him because he's got no weapons, and this would greatly benefit the Bears as they have the 2024 first-round pick for the Panthers. So if Bryce Young fails in his first season, so do the Panthers. And the Panthers would go 2-15, finishing with the worst record in the NFL, meaning that the Bears would get the #1 overall pick. And as for Bryce Young, he finished his rookie season horrible. The Bears are in prime position to draft Caleb Williams from USC, and they've made it official that they're going to draft him by trading away their quarterback Justin Fields to the Steelers. As for DJ Moore, his first season as a Bear was the best season of his career, going for 96 receptions, over 1,300 yards, and 8 touchdowns. And by the way, he was doing this with Justin Fields as his quarterback. Fields isn't bad, but he's not a passing quarterback. With someone like Caleb Williams, his stats are only going to get better. So far, the Bears have easily won the DJ Moore trade, and if Bryce Young turns out to be not good in the NFL, it would be highway robbery. And this trade has set them up very well for the future. Another way the Bears have set themselves up very well for the future is that they've been not so bad at drafting, especially in the later rounds. Look at this past year's draft. We start with Darnell Wright. Look, I'm not gonna lie, I don't know a lot about linemen. Not a lot of people do. I don't know if he did good or not. Bears fans, let me know. The main pick in this draft was Tyreek Stevenson, who finished his rookie year with 4 interceptions and looks like he could be a solid cornerback for the future. No one else really made a too crazy impact on this team in their rookie season. Guys like Zach Pickens and Roschon Johnson, though, they weren't awful, and I could see them becoming pretty solid players in the future. You're going to see a trend of the Bears not drafting horrible when it comes to defensive players. When it comes to Kyler Gordon, a player that drafted in the second round in 2022, he's not been bad. He's been kind of injury prone, and he's had 5 total interceptions, and when he's healthy, he's pretty good. For the first season and a half Jaquan Brisker was in the NFL, Bears fans bullied him relentlessly on how bad he was, and it seems like it's working now because to end off the season, he wasn't so bad. So it looks like bullying does work after all. Besides that, I really don't see any other notable names on guys who can make an impact on this team later on. If you're a Bears fan, let me know. Yeah, I can't lie, this draft class really isn't impressive. The only guy I think that can make an impact for the future for the Bears is Tevin Jenkins, Larry Borom maybe, and Khalil Herbert. He hasn't been awful, but with them having 2 very, very good running backs that are much better than Cole. Actually, I don't know. Roschon Johnson or Khalil Herbert, who's better? But yeah, anyway, not a lot of impactful guys from this draft class. This is the last draft class I'm going to be covering because everyone else, they're all on another team or they're out of the league. And as you look, Cole Kmet drafted in the second round. He's still going to be very solid for the Bears for a few years, maybe even more. He's been solid for the last few seasons. And then you look at Jalen Johnson, cornerback. He emerged as one of the best cornerbacks in the NFL last season, being named to an All-Pro team. And I expect nothing but greatness from him for the next few seasons. And although Darnell Mooney had kind of declined the last 2 seasons, he was still pretty solid with the Bears, but he just got traded to the Atlanta Falcons, so no more Darnell Mooney in Chicago. So even though their draft classes haven't been the best in the NFL, they have not been bad at all. and they've drafted, like I said, some key guys that are going to be key contributors for this season and the next few seasons. Another way the Bears have built a very good roster is through free agency, and they haven't picked up bad free agents at all. They've picked up some very key guys. This offseason, the Bears signed running back DeAndre Swift from the Eagles on a 3-year deal. Last season, in his first year with the Eagles, he exploded onto the scene as he rushed for a little over 1,000 yards and 5 touchdowns in 16 games. And in case you're wondering what his previous career high was, it was a little over 600 yards. So it really just depends if you're the Bears. It really just depends if you're going to get Detroit DeAndre Swift or previous season DeAndre Swift. Well, only time will tell. We'll see. I want to focus in on a signing they made the previous offseason in 2023 when they signed one of the most underrated players in the NFL, linebacker TJ Edwards. In his first season in Chicago last season, he was absolutely phenomenal, played all 17 games, and in those 17 games, he had 155 tackles, which finished 7th in the NFL, 3 interceptions, and 2.5 sacks. One of the most underrated stat lines I've seen. I didn't even know how good this guy was until I studied for my most underrated NFL players video where someone mentioned him to me, and he was, when I saw his stats for the first time, I was like, how is no one talking about this guy? TJ Edwards, he deserves more respect, and he's going to be, in my opinion, even better in 2024. He's going to be a key piece to this team. Now we're going to talk about the Keenan Allen trade. This trade caught a lot of people off guard, including me, and this trade can end up really bad or really good. Now the main reason people don't like this trade is because Keenan Allen is getting old and he's on a really bad contract. So if he does bad this next season, he might not be on an NFL team. Well, it's Keenan Allen. He's had good seasons in the past few years, but if he doesn't have a good year, he's not going to be in Chicago next season, and it's going to be a waste of money and a waste of time for the Bears. But on the contrary, if you're going to get 2023 or just prime Keenan Allen in general, you're in for I don't know a good analogy here. He's pretty good though. Last season, in just 13 games played, he had over 1,200 yards, which was just outside the top 10 in receiving yards, and 7 touchdowns. So, well, that's another thing. He needs to stay healthy. If he can stay healthy and he can stay on this trajectory of very good seasons, the Bears are going to get a really good receiver, a great 1-2 punch in DJ Moore and Keenan Allen. You just gotta hope he can stay healthy. So yeah, this Bears roster is very good, top to bottom, offense and defense, especially defense. Their defense is incredibly underrated, and especially that secondary. Now it's going to be tough to compete, especially for this season in the NFC North when you have the Packers and the Lions. You don't really have to worry about the Vikings anymore, but I believe the Bears in the next few seasons can make a Super Bowl run. I believe they can make the playoffs at least this season. So we'll just have to wait and see. Let me know if I missed anything. Let me know how the Bears are going to do this season, in your opinion. And that's about it. Bye-bye.